I like making jewelry for gifts that honor the season or holiday for which they are given. Today we're going to make a gorgeous necklace perfect for spring, Valentine's Day, or Mother's Day. It's classic colors, it's pretty in pink.
It's who I am, a little rare, some sour fare, and some mystery, putting it all together, doing what I do.
Hi, I'm Tamara Berg, and I'm excited about today's project. It's perfect for gift giving. It's beautiful, it's feminine, and it's pink, so let's get started. We're going to be working with products that we've got from beadtrust.com. They've got so many wonderful things that you can use for these projects and variations that you can do. And we're going to start with our pendant on this piece. This is a stained glass pendant. There's a dried flower in the center, and all of the components of it are sterling silver. And this one has marbled stained glass on the back, so it actually looks pretty front ways or back ways, so you can make adjustments with it. They've got so many different variations, lots of colors, different shapes, different sizes, and the loops are in different places on some of them, so you can use them for lots and lots of different projects. So, starting with this pendant, we're going to create a bail, and we're just going to be using little sterling silver eye pins for this, and this is going to be a pretty simple bail. What we're going to first use is a check glass bead as an embellishment on here. And these are called check glass because they come from the Czech Republic, which is one of the glass-making capitals of Europe. If you ever get a chance to go to Prague, go, it's fabulous. So we're just going to create a loop on that sterling silver eye pin and then attach it to our pendant. And this is just basic wire wrapping stuff. We take our other pliers, pull that around, loop-de-loop-de-loop, and cut away the excess, and there we have our pretty little bail. Now we're going to do a little dangle on the bottom of this. So what we're going to use for this is a head pin that has 3 little drops on the bottom. And in jewelry making, I believe that it's the details that make all the difference in making something really special. So we've used this instead of a plain old flat head pin. So what we're going to do is take that drop head pin and put on another one of our check glass beads, and then the bead that we're using for the main focus of this necklace is called a pink candy jade stone. And this one is, if you can see it, it's got all kinds of different colors in it. There are lots of variations in this, so it's really going to be a beautiful necklace when we're finished. So we put on the pink candy jade, and now we're just going to create another loop to attach this embellishment to the bottom of our pendant. And just wire wrap that the same way we did the last one, holding it with our 2 pliers, wrapping it around, and finishing that off by trimming off the end. And then when it's all done, it will look like this. We're working with stainless steel cable that is nylon coated. It's a really good, strong material, and it works great with these big, chunky beads. Also, silk or nylon thread can be cut by the stone beads, so this stainless steel cable is really great for this kind of project. So we're taking a 50-inch length of that stainless steel cable, and then we're going to attach our clasp to it. We're just taking our jump ring, opening that up, putting on the silver clasp. Now they have a couple of different heart shapes. I just wanted to use the heart shape because I thought this would be nice as a Valentine's Day gift. And again, the details matter in things like this. Now we just put that on and draw it to the center of our cable. And then we're going to add a crimp bead. These are just 2mm sterling silver crimp beads. And we're just feeding that on to both of the cable wires and pulling those, oops, where'd our center go? There we go. Pulling those all the way down to the center of the cable. Now, when we're crimping this bead, you can just use plain flat-nosed pliers, but I like to use a crimping tool because this really helps keep that bond strong. When you're working with crimp beads, it's really important that the cables inside the crimp beads do not cross each other. That's how you keep a good, strong crimp. So make sure that your cables are not crossed inside that crimp bead. And then we're using a tool that has two different crimp shapes inside there. The first one that we're going to use is the one that's closest to the hinge. So we put that bead right into the pliers, again, just making sure that we don't have any crossover, and then just squeeze right down. Now, to make that just a little bit more secure and make sure that we don't have any sharp edges that are going to scratch the back of your neck when you're wearing this, we just take this crimp bead, and now this is when we're going to use that second part of the pliers that's closer to the tip. We rotate the crimp bead 90 degrees, and at this point in the process, if the first crimp didn't go exactly as planned, doing this part can actually open the crimp bead and it creates big problems. So to ensure that that doesn't happen, I take another pair of pliers, these bent nose pliers, and I push them inside to that crimp bead, and then while I'm crimping the bead, I push down into the center of the crimp, and that will help everything go the way we want it to go. That makes the crimp bead fold over itself so we get a nice round crimp. Okay, so now we are just going to start feeding on our pink candy jade beads. This necklace, because it's quite big and chunky, I decided to make it 18 inches long, so it sits a little bit lower on the neck as opposed to being up toward the top. So for an 18-inch necklace, we're going to use 34 of these pink candy jade beads. And so we're just feeding them on, no big deal, but the first thing that you want to do at this point is just make sure you get 17 of them on, and they just go on to that one cable. The second cable is going to be our embellishment cable.
Watch it fall around me and shades plum and verdigris.
Now what we're going to do is create the garland that embellishes this necklace, and this is the fun part of this necklace. So our cable that has nothing on it at this point goes through the first bead, and only the first bead of the necklace, and now we're going to create our garland. Now this is where we pick up our check glass beads again, and we're going to put on 11. And I'm just using 11 because that is the number of beads that covers the distance that I need to make this just have a really pretty sort of drape with respect to the candy beads. Okay, so we've got 11 of our check glass beads, and we've come through our first candy jade bead. Now we're going to skip the next 3, and when we're working in design, I like to work in odd numbers. I just think it's a little more visually pleasing to the eye. So we skip the next 3, and then the 4th one, we go ahead and go right through that with the second cable. Now don't worry about pulling this tight because that'll come at the end of the project. So just continue with this of adding 11 beads, skipping the 3 and going through the 4th to create all your garlands to get to the center of the necklace. Okay, so this is what the project is going to look like once we've got the first 17 beads strung on. So you take both of the cables and string them through that 17th bead, which is this one right here. Now we're at the center of the necklace where the pendant is going to be attached. So when you get to your 18th bead, both cables go through the 18th bead. Now we have a place where the pendant will go, and then you continue on to create the second half of the necklace as you did, skipping 3, putting your garland, and going on to number 4 in that series. So now we're just going to attach the pendant. Very simple. We're just taking that bail that we created with the eye pin. We open that up, just hook it over those 2 cables, and then just very simply close and tighten down that eye pin, making sure it's nice and tight. We don't want any separation there. And there we've got our pendant. Next, we're just going to sort of slide everything down and make sure it's sort of roughly tightened together. And that's pretty good. Now what we're going to do is finish it off. We're just going to do another crimp bead on here, and this technique is just a little bit different from the way we started the necklace because we had a fold, we were in the center of the cable. This time we've got 2 ends to deal with. So we've got our crimp bead on here, and then we just add our jump ring, and then we're going to feed both of those wires through the crimp bead and through our first candy bead. And pull those through, and this will make a nice finish again, so you won't have any ends scratching you in the back of your neck. So now we're going to tighten everything close down to our last series of beads here. And then, when it's pretty close, now at this point we're just going to hold the whole necklace up by the jump ring and just sort of snug everything down. Now you don't want it too tight because we don't want it stiff and standing out from your neck, but we do want it snug enough that those little garlands drape properly. So it just takes a little bit of adjustment, a little bit of pulling. Check for space. There will be a little space in these places because that's needed for the whole piece to move a little bit, but I think we're pretty good on our spacing. Oops, we got a little bit of a space here. Pull that in just a little bit more. And then when you know you've got it all in place, just go right back and crimp that bead just the way you did the last one. And you've got the finished necklace. And just trim those little bits off. And now we have our finished necklace. I really love the beads that are in this, the candy jade beads, and they remind me of this strawberries and cream candy that I used to eat when I was a kid. They don't taste as good. So anyway, while I was working with those, I made some really fantastic earrings to match, and look at the earring wires on these. Aren't these a great shape with these pretty little embellishments from the front? They really finish off the earrings nicely. And then back to the stained glass pendants. Here's the purple one. And now we've used that garland technique again, heart beads here and a heart clasp. And how about this fantastic, long, luxurious, fabulous sterling silver heart chain necklace with the pendant, with heart beads. You've got it all here. I made this necklace for my mom because she likes the really long, slinky necklaces. So whether you're making jewelry for yourself or for a gift, jewelry that honors the recipient as well as the occasion is the best kind to give. So get out there and make something beautiful. Make a beautiful gift. See you next time.
To create this project yourself, download this week's design guide. You'll get step-by-step instructions along with special make-it-your-own bonus tips and ideas.